Hello, how is it going? On today's video, we're going to be covering some modern horror. I did a post earlier on the channel just saying this will be the theme of the next video because I do cover a lot of retro stuff, and old horror movies from like the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, some 90s stuff, 2000s. But I thought we'd go for like 2014 onwards, say to 2024, so the past decade. Let's look at some of the more modern horror and with horror as well, with the genre. Every like decade has a feel to it. I mean, you've got like the 60s with the more kind of like ghostly kind of movies and a lot of like Edgar Allan Poe like adaptations and things like that. Vincent Price. You go into the 70s, you've got like more from Hammer, who were around since a lot earlier than that, but also Hammer actually amped it up a bit in the early 70s and added more blood to their movies and violence, things like that. And also the 70s things got more violent in general with kind of like the proto slashers, things like A Bay of Blood and Black Christmas. Still get ghostly films and stuff. So then of course you've got the 80s, more slashers, campy horror, some great creature features. 90s tends to be a lot of good creature features, thrillers, etc. 2000s, you've got kind of like the remake era, you've got the found footage boom, which carried on into sort of the 2010s, and still kind of there's a lot of them around today. It's not quite as prevalent as it was, but there's still a lot of found footage being made today, and some good ones as well. Like just watching the new Hell House box set at the moment, seen the films before but just been going through them. And then you've kind of got from like, I'd say from about 2014 onwards, like still getting some of the kind of old, you get kind of retro horror where like they'll kind of be period pieces set in the 80s. There's been a lot of that since programs like the Stranger Things came on Netflix. There's a lot of nostalgia for 80s kind of horror, things like that. But we've also kind of had this boom of like art house horror. Horror films have got very artsy over the past decade, a lot of them. Some of them fantastic, some of them I find a little bit overly ambiguous, but still interesting stuff. So what I've done for this video, I thought we'll just talk some modern horror 2014 onwards. Picked out a bunch of Blu-rays, 4Ks, got a big stack beneath me like here, and we'll just basically talk about some. So let's start with, no particular order by year by the way as well, but there's so many good modern horrors as well, and I forget how good modern horror can be. And there's some good, good new movies being added to Shudder, Shudder exclusives, originals, some good things coming out. And I watched one last night that kind of inspired me to do this video. So I watched a 2024 movie. I watched Abigail, and I'd not really anticipated this one too much, and I have sort of slept on it a little, but I watched it and I thought it was great. Same team of directors as like the new Scream movies, Scream 5 and Scream 6 and Ready or Not. But anyway, let's talk a little bit about some modern horror. So one to start with is this remake and reimagining of The Invisible Man from 2020. I really enjoyed this. I think it's a really good film, really good kind of horror thriller. Completely different to the original Invisible Man, which is also a very good film as well, a classic, the original. This is a bit updated. It's directed by Lee Winnell. I think he's worked on Saw. I think he might have even starred in that. I know that's a James Wan movie, but Lee Winnell anyway. I think he did Upgrade as well, which was a very good sci-fi kind of horror movie. But this is an interesting one. So there might be a few spoilers in this video. Nothing too overly expletive, but there will be some sort of spoilers as we explore kind of modern horror a little bit. But with this reimagining of the Invisible Man, you've got this character played by, who is it? Elizabeth Moss. She's like in a kind of abusive relationship with a very controlling like gentleman, quite wealthy, and that she escapes him, but he fakes his death, and he has this technology, like as opposed to a bit different to the original Invisible Man. In this reimagining, he has kind of like a suit that turns him invisible. So he puts on the suit and he's trying to track her down, and he's haunting her, and she thinks it's his spirit at first, or she's going crazy. People around her think she's going insane, but it's actually this controlling ex-boyfriend or husband, I can't remember which one it was, but partner, who's coming after her, like, and he's got this cool suit. And one scene in particular is brilliant where her she sat in a restaurant with I think it's one of her relatives, and he just basically out of nowhere, because he's invisible, you just see the relative or friend of her just basically get like brutally murdered, like with nobody there, and it's a fantastic scene. Plenty of that good stuff in this one, The Invisible Man. I'd love to see a sequel. Perhaps there's one in the works, but yeah, a good one from 2020. Another one I think is just like utterly so much fun, and it's got a great cast as well, great cast of actors. So you've got in this one you've got guys like let's have a quick look so I can just you know, you got William Sadler, Stephen Lang from Don't Breathe. You have who else is in it? George Wendt, I think he's from Cheers. Fred Williamson, he's in that film Vigilante. And there's a couple more faces as well as some of the younger cast in the film. But it's about the veterans fighting back against some absolute ravaged drug addicts who are hooked on this substance that's just making them absolutely psychotic. And that is VFW. This is really fun, really gory, really violent. These guys are held up at their veterans club. They're trying to fight off these drug addicts. Basically, this young woman escapes the drug addicts and goes into the bar seeking help. They sort of protect her and hold her up in there, but the gangs after comes in, you know, trying to take her back. And these veterans have got to fight them off. Awesome movie. Probably picked this one up at a good price as well. I really enjoyed this VFW. A really good one. Now we're on to a James Wan sort of newer one. I think it's from 2021. Great film. Malignant. Plenty of good action in this. I don't want to spoil too much, but it's got a bit of variety in there as well. It's got like James Wan's kind of high budget, kind of glossy kind of looking, you know, nice aesthetic, littered with like, you know, influences of like Basket Case and Giallo and like murder mystery and stuff like that. But it definitely takes some influence from Basket Case. And if you've seen it towards the end of the film, like the final sort of half an hour, you'll know exactly what I mean. Good twist in this one. I kind of seen it coming a little bit, but I wasn't quite had my finger on it completely, but it's really good, like really violent as well, bloody. There's a great showdown, great action sequences as well, if you're into your action. Awesome action sequences at the end of the film, you know, that final half an hour after the big reveal. Malignant, like such a good, like sort of big horror movie, like one of the better ones I think from the past sort of few years. Another good one, directed by Eli Roth from last year. A bit of CGI blood in there, which isn't always great, but I enjoyed this. Thanksgiving. Watched it last year, and then I picked up the Blu-ray not long ago, and yeah, it's really cool. Got a new cool killer, you know, set at Thanksgiving. The opening scene is just mental. It is insane at the shopping mall, where the crowds can't wait to get in for Black Friday, and there's just this horrific, like, accident that happens. People are just going so crazy that they just keep falling into each other and falling into objects and killing themselves, and people keep getting badly injured and hurt and killed. Such a great opening to a modern horror film. One of the best openings I've seen is the shopping mall scene in Thanksgiving. And then of course you've got this killer who's seeking revenge, and he's blaming, you know, he's got the sort of cast of characters who he's blaming for this atrocity that happened the year prior, and you know, he's kidnapping people and murdering them. And really cool movie, Thanksgiving. Really enjoyed it. I don't want to give too much away, but it's good stuff. One from 2019 that I actually watched at the cinema as well is the sequel to The Shining. Good book as well. I've actually read Stephen King's book, and that is starring Ewan McGregor. That is Dr. Sleep. Also stars Rebecca Ferguson as is it Rose the Hat or something like that she's called. You know, she's part of the True Knot, who's this group of kind of vampiric characters that suck the life out of like children. They gas up to keep their kind of immortality from absorbing that from human beings. And Ewan McGregor's back as Danny Torrance. So he plays Danny Torrance, older though, who's been a recovering alcoholic and got a new job and things like that. But he starts experiencing symptoms of the Shining, that ability again, and he's trying to help a young girl who they're trying to basically stop the True Knot from killing any more people. It's got a good scene, nostalgic scene at the end of the film, set at the Overlook Hotel. They did that really nicely in this. You know, you're back to the Overlook with some of the ghosts and things like that. Also has Wendy Thomas in this film. Obviously not the original actress. God, I've actually can't remember her name now. But it has her in it. It has that character in it, Wendy Torrance, played by a new actress, you know, for the flashback scenes. Yeah, really fantastic. Like, so many good scenes in Dr. Sleep. Awesome. Yeah. Shelley Duvall, that was the actress who played her in the Shining, sorry. But anyway, it has Wendy Torrance in it again, played by a younger actress, you know, playing her with showing some flashback scenes with Danny. That's done really well. The overall narrative about Danny being older and a recovering alcoholic's really interesting too. So much going on. The True Knot are just fantastic. These vampiric, like, sort of gypsy kind of like characters who live in like trailers and caravans. They're always moving about on the road looking for victims, looking to turn people into one of them, looking to absorb the air from people, you know, the energy and the soul, so they can sort of keep on being immortal. But Doctor Sleep, awesome sequel to The Shining, you know, so good. And the book's really good as well. The book's got a lot more detail than the film. And there's the extended cut of the film, which is actually 3 hours, which is very long for a movie. But yeah, read the book as well if you're into Doctor Sleep. Well worth a read. Yeah, sorry about forgetting Shelley Duvall's name. It's just because I'm doing it off the cuff and I've got all these movies in my head and things like that. I just slipped on a bit. One from, I think this is 2022. I'll try and find it. Yes, so it's Ty West's X. You know, Ty West is director of House of the Devil and The Sacrament and The Innkeepers, and X is just great. It's a retro sort of slasher set in the 70s. Got this group of people going to make a pornography film. They end up on this farm, staying there because they want to shoot there. And the old couple there are not quite what they seem. They're very decrepit as well. And yeah, some nasty scenes in this one, some cool stuff. And then, of course, you have the prequel, Pearl, which I haven't cracked open the Blu-ray yet. But this is the old lady from X. She's called Pearl. This is an prequel about her character growing up and what she went through and why she's so sort of like challenged and gone insane. And yeah, just great film, great acting as well from Mia Goth. Does a fantastic job in this one. I really enjoyed it. The scarecrow scene's weird, but yeah, X and Pearl, well worth a watch. Another cool one, and I'm just trying to find out which language it is. So this is a Finnish film called Hatching. So this young girl basically finds a strange egg. She keeps it, she incubates it, nurtures it, and a little weird bird creature pops out. And things get very strange. It's a Finnish movie, no English dub, it's all in Finnish. You'll have to subtitle it and read the subtitles, but such fun. Such a good kind of artsy horror movie, very good hatching. I wouldn't mind revisiting this one at some point. I did like that one. And then, of course, like, you know, a more modern one for the found footage genre that I'd also like to revisit, that I've seen on streaming and I picked it up because I liked it that much, and that is The Deep House. These YouTubers who have a channel, they go into the underneath the to the ocean bed, and there's actually a property there that's sunk, or you know, from the past, and they go in there and there's ghosts and everything, and they're trying to like get out of there, and they're filming with their underwater cameras, and yeah, pretty creepy, The Deep House. I didn't quite think the ending was the best, but as a found footage film, it does work pretty well and does it quite solidly. Good one. Another one I saw at the cinema. Wasn't amazed by it, but I think it's a solid movie, and I do like the original's just a classic, and I do kind of like Farewell to the Flesh, the sequel, but that's is it 2021? Yeah, the 2021 Candyman sequel. So it's basically Candyman 4. It's produced by Jordan Peele. You've got kind of like a new take on the Candyman idea, that it's not just one guy like in the original where Tony Todd plays him. It's kind of like this sort of strange like kind of transition where someone becomes a Candyman and haunts the sort of like local area and stuff like that, but set in Chicago. Yeah, really creepy, like, you know, some good scenes in as well, like the toilet scene at the school, at the high school or wherever it is. You've got a great ending credits animation. You know, the ending credits look brilliant with the kind of animation showing you kind of like some of the you know, depictions of the kind of story and things like that in animated form. But well worth a look, the modern Candyman. Nowhere near as good as the original, or even as creepy. I mean, Tony Todd's only in this at the beginning, but like I said, it's a whole new Candyman, like a whole new reimagining, but pretty cool. You have Ready or Not here. This is a fun one. Basically, a newlywed bride. She's mixing with her in-laws and the rest of the family, and basically things turn out that basically they play a game where they basically hunt the bride. So they're hunting Samara Weaving's character in this film. She's trying to get out of the mansion. She's got to fight them all off. They play a sick game. That's a tradition in their family where they kill the bride. And yeah, she's got to escape, and it's really good. It's a good thriller. It's tense. There's plenty of gore, plenty of action. Good stuff, Ready or Not. One of the better ones. I think this was from 2019. Yeah, got the Blu-ray here, but look at that. That's Amazon for you. But yeah, Ready or Not, really, really good one. Another one from 2019. It's a pretty good year for some of the modern horror stuff you have. Based on an H.P. Lovecraft novel or novella. Not sure whether it's I think it's a short story, it might be. I'm not sure. But it's based on the work of H.P. Lovecraft, and it stars Nicolas Cage, from the producers of Mandy, which is another great movie from like the year before. And that's Colour Out of Space, filled with some great special effects. You've got a pretty good performance from Nicolas Cage. You know, he also has a scene in there where he goes completely crazy like he would, you know, like that, what's expected. But really good H.P. Lovecraft adaptation. You've got, you know, these kind of like alien, like sort of fungus, like drops to earth on his farm, starts like infecting everything, and things start mutating, like the animals, the farm animals, like the cows and stuff like that, and the plant life. Even his wife becomes completely like mutated and deformed from this you know, this kind of like fungus, if you will, this kind of space fungus. But yeah, Colour Out of Space, it's got some amazing looking colours in there as well. The colour palette looks pretty nice with, you know, some of the lighting and things like that, and all the, you know, the way it looks and that, really good. And there's a look at the back anyway. But yeah, really did enjoy the Colour Out of Space. Definitely one I need to revisit. I think this is from 2014. It follows basically about an STD that gets passed on, sexually transmitted kind of haunting, where people are infected, and then if they start being tracked, they start seeing different forms of this like virus coming after them. So it takes human form. It could be a relative, it could be anybody, just a strange person walking towards them in the distance, getting closer and closer. They've got to basically pass this STD on to somebody else before the entity comes for them and actually, you know, kills them, murders them, whatever, takes their soul, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, it's about an STD that's basically got to be spread from person to person. If you don't spread it or pass it on, you're going to end up dead, and that's it. Follows. Really good sort of like direction, style, and that. Really cool movie. Did like that one. This one is from is it 2015? It's the debut feature from Robert Eggers, and that's The Witch. Cool movie. Stars Anya Taylor-Joy when she's a bit younger. The rest of the cast's really good as well. Set like a few hundred years ago, a couple of hundred years ago, 200-300 years ago. Basically, this family are exiled. They move into kind of this area, this farm area, on their own. Very, you know, kind of in the middle of nowhere, next to a wood. And basically the baby goes missing, and it's, you know, there's a witch behind it. And yeah, it's a very subtle movie though. It doesn't quite like go bang immediately, but it's got a good climax, and it's very tense, and things pick up. And you've got the sort of evil goat character, Black Phillip, who's interesting, who's the goat that you know, is supposed to be have some sort of link to the witch in the film and stuff like that. But this is a lovely addition as well from Second Sight of The Witch. Fantastic. I love The Lighthouse as well. I thought that was just so good as well. And I'll show a few more. So there might be a cut because I'll have to go and get some more to talk about. But another one from 2014. I loved this film when it was initially released. When I saw the trailer, I was hooked. I was like, I've got to see this movie. So I did. And then this release come out. I did have a standard Blu-ray prior, but I think this was one of the first 4K Second Sight films I actually did, and that's the Babadook. Awesome movie, directed by Jennifer Kent. I think she also did The Nightingale, which is another good one. Not quite a horror film, more of a kind of like a drama thriller, but like the Babadook is so creepy. You've got this Babadook character. It's quite ambiguous, like towards the end you're kind of thinking, is it actually an entity or a spirit or ghost or poltergeist, or is it a manifestation of grief and depression? And you've got this guy who comes as a storybook that pops up on the doorstep. Her husband's died, she's alone with the child, single mother, bringing him up in this creepy house in Australia. She gets the pop-up book, and it's about this scary character called Mr. Babadook, who's going to come, you know, to the house and stuff like that. She goes into the lady in the film goes into kind of like a, you know, like a down a rabbit hole and a descent into madness, and starts seeing images everywhere, and she thinks she's going crazy. She really is going crazy, and she keeps seeing the shadows of this Babadook character, and he shows up and he's after the child, you know, and he's also out to drive her crazy. And but like I said, it's quite ambiguous, you know. Is it a manifestation of grief, depression, or is it actually an entity? I suppose it's a bit of ambiguity there. But a Babadook, fantastic movie. Quick cut and I'll talk about a couple more. Okay, so we're back. Stephen King in 2017, his adaptations, you know, there was been pretty good, some of the new ones. I thought the Pet Sematary remake from, I think it was 2019, was okay, not as good as the original. But anyway, one film in particular gave Stephen King, you know, a big resurgence, and there's been a few adaptations since, and that's the remake of it. You know, there was the television series in the early 90s, I think it was 1990 possibly, Tim Curry playing Pennywise, but the reimagining was just brilliant. Bill Skarsgård did a fantastic job as Pennywise, and just, it was a sort of bigger film than the original TV series. I like them both kind of equally, and I like both of the depictions of Pennywise kind of equally, but this was a fantastic resurgence for Stephen King. And then you got of course, Chapter 2. Not quite as good as the first one, I thought, but this is, like, in the mini-series, it's 2 parts. This is like the second part when the Losers Club are adults. But yeah, pretty good movies, man. And this one I did enjoy particularly. Thought it was really good, you know, some creepy bits, a lot of CGI in it, but, you know, it's pretty good CGI, you know, it looks all right. You've got Pennywise taking all different forms and things like that, which you're going to need CGI for. It's going to be very hard to do all that with practical, but let's look at the back. But I thought they were good as well. And then, staying on the subject of Stephen King, there's been some great TV adaptations, you know, of his works in the recent years. I mean, of course, you have Castle Rock, set in the universe, you know, the town of Castle Rock. You've got the Shawshank prison in there, things like that. You've got this kind of mystery going on. And then you've got the brilliant season 2, which in my opinion surpasses the first season, which I've just shown. Because season 2, it follows the story, you know, in the town of Castle Rock and the goings on at Shawshank prison. But it's got a young Annie Wilkes in there, you know, from Misery. Different actress playing her, but still absolutely brilliant. I mean, these were even produced by J.J. Abrams, I think, and these Castle Rock. But season 2 is excellent. It's got Annie Wilkes when she's younger and shows how she become kind of like the woman she is in the film Misery. But I loved it, yeah. And then, of course, just a quick mention of this, you have The Outsider, which is a good mystery as well. This one was on Sky years ago, and this is a mini-series from 2020. Really enjoyed this. Not quite on par with like Castle Rock season 2, but it's a good one. Obviously, Wes Craven passed away, and there hadn't been a Scream film for years. And then you get like Scream from, is it 2022? Yeah, which is basically Scream 5. They just called it Scream, but it's Scream 5, you know, Scream 2022. You know, a Ghostface killer's back. You've got a new team working behind it. You know, the guy, I think it's the team who also did Abigail and Ready or Not. But like, yeah, I thought this was really good. You know, lots of good gore. You got Ghostface back, cast of new characters, you know, very interesting. Typical kind of Scream film. You know what you're getting with Scream. Nothing out of the Scream realm. You know, you kind of know what to expect. There's always going to be some sort of mega twist at the end, you know, with reveal of who the killer is. And then, of course, Scream 6 from the year after was also very good, set in the city of, I think it's set in New York. Very cool. Like, love the location because it's normally set in Woodsboro, so it was really good getting it in the city. You know, having a Ghostface going around in the city slashing people. He even gets a blooming shotgun in one scene. And then, of course, this one, which I watched last night, which I was really impressed with. I'd sort of slept on it for a while, and that's Abigail. Yeah, about these crooks basically kidnap a young girl, and they don't know, you know, what she actually is and what's behind them being sort of hired to perform this kidnapping. There's a bit more to it. They think they've just kidnapped some rich guy's daughter, and they're gonna hit the jackpot and get paid big time, 7 million each. No, it's all, you know, there's a bit of a ploy and there's a bit of an agenda why they're there, and it's all kind of a setup, and there's some good gore, good twists in there, good violence, very good scenes, the music's good, the acting's good, you know, really good. Really enjoyed that one. Now, of course, in 2013, I didn't pull that one out, but I pulled this one out. You get the Evil Dead from Fede Alvarez, you know, the remake from 2012. This is from last year, and this is Evil Dead Rise, another good modern horror, just really good take, set in an apartment, really good take on the Evil Dead franchise. I think it's even produced by Sam Raimi, so it's kind of got his fingerprints on it. You know, the Deadites are back. It's in an apartment block, plenty of blood. It's even got a homage scene to the Shining with the blood in the elevator. Yeah, lots of fun. So I'll try and breeze through these because it has been a pretty long video. But you have Sting, which got released this year. I enjoyed this, about a giant spider in an apartment block. That's mutated. It's come from out of space, hatched from an egg, landed in a doll's house. You know, and this young girl and her dad are trying to like fight it off and things like that. But really cool. Really enjoyed Sting. Great modern creature feature. Definitely worth a watch. You got the one I need to rewatch, but you got the brilliant Mandy from, I think it's 2018, starring Nick Cage again. Yeah, really cool film. Pretty visceral, very weird, strange band of villains who murder his wife, and he goes on a rampage to seek revenge. Yeah, check out Mandy. Really cool. And we'll finish on this one because this was pretty good. This is the 2019 Child's Play remake. So completely different to the original, whereas the original is voodoo magic, where Charles Lee Ray's spirit is possesses a doll, which is Chucky. In this film, it's artificial intelligence that's the menace, and that's a different take in the, you know, for Child's Play. But Mark Hamill did a good job with the voice, not quite Brad Dourif, but yeah, pretty fun, good kills, good story, different take, exactly what a remake should be. It's like if you're going to remake something, don't do it scene for scene like the Psycho remake. You know, do what Child's Play did and make it completely different, where it's a completely different story and completely different canon for the franchise. Anyway, that's my little take on modern horror. I hope you enjoyed this video. Plenty more on the way. Yeah, just thought I'd talk about some modern horror. Like I said, each decade has its own feel to it, and it's really interesting to me. And I love kind of looking at the different decades and seeing how things have changed, progressed or digressed, or, you know, just looking at things, like putting it into perspective, looking at all these different styles that have come around. You know, you got like the remake era in like the 2000s, as well as the found footage boom, and then you've gone on to this kind of art house horror style, which is very prevalent in the genre like at present day. You got 80s cheese, you got slashers, 70s 80s slashers, you've got like giallo, you know, loads of different ones from different decades. Each decade has its own feel. Thanks for watching. I will see you on the next video. Hope you enjoyed this. Goodbye for now.